Cool. Everyone good? Good? Good. Part 1 is remembering everything we know. Sorry, that's what I'm talking. Let's try that again.
Okay, Freddy's hard, dude.
I know.
Are you actually wearing a black tinted?
Yeah, I am.
Heinous.
Everything we know is shaped by the neoliberal administration. Educational space has been called by fanatical based on prophecy and overall training. We mindless focus higher education side of critical elements for taking this institution to grow. Intellectual abundance view higher education as a workstation for training global workforce. Higher education was the function of the reminder of limitation of the role of playing the tech social problems university robustly transmission already using the stride rises to the financial week of critical exchange. University is a reproduced society which conforming could be allowed from the global market to use discourses of individuality, security, interests of the powerful, the conservative, or waging idleness more is the education view higher education side of critical dialogue, radiating purpose of truth in developing a state which students will to create the world critically. We must feel a position of academic preserving educational space for future objective. Coordinate the mass oppression and racism by education's true calling Joe. The economy of negative official truth which is reduced to the role of functionality in informal institutions and conservative serving problems hiding and the use of literacy the academic shape of the rules of critical education and activism. One with this project possibility pedagogy can be understood and purposeful. This question one in the doctrine and instrumentalize our both pretty much should be a moment among students who are open to new ideas of neutrality and representation of the academy arguing for the very future and rating which is display the current political system in which they feel trapped. Further on conclusion 1. Attempt to abstract the resume lead to the current isolation privilege of learning serving concerning these issues and challenge the construction to by the value of life and opportunities alive and emotional analysis critical to me the impacts of the theoretical ones we are instrumentalize instrumental and new liberalism cannot create change under conditions or change and you will continue to shape everything in the activities we call the right of legal education when it starts the position of the university. The question is posed by the department of neoliberals is the entire civil science ever since around the Western Being public spirits transform the spectacular business of generating results like the fight of the lost faith of this lost faith is not a religion image looking at higher education than a state here in civil society political politics and freedom of democracy only the first to be asked about loss protection by distributed by working parts of not just the world on and exclusive focus on representation of roads meaningful for solely the structural petition serious focus for supplement the discussion of reform in higher education means analyzing false solutions to road. Education must link education must link to learning to social change. Education must be clear about the representation of the recognize the power to be limited to the same discourse. Changing consciousness is not the same as altering the institutional base of oppression. Reform can take without changing consciousness, recognizing the clear possibility of reform makes more future positive projects to advocacy. Context. Public colleges and universities in the United States all numbers should constitutionally protected speech on campus in part 3 advantages. Administrators are becoming restricting free speech and the speech laws are becoming increasingly possible popular looping off. Speech laws became the rather than accepted precedent from students and federal government made the research that speech laws inevitable. They were classified 15 years of reference to speech policing, while restrictions and become more aggressive in defining harassment as broad language and any offense should be as a matter of federal oversight. The environmental policies improved and go beyond the preventing the discriminatory harassment 17. There are three factors including political ideas, attention, interest in the students and glad efforts, including popularity such as administration, warnings, and safety, and efforts to lose microaggressions, in 75 universities of those demand, a number of campus speech and opposition discourse and academic freedom are implemented technically making the liberal stronghold and academia bakery. The right of the faculty members of the administration without facing censure and political authorities had to be defending its certain subject to the academic freedom came under attack. Each rational subject to the academic freedom, the opposition to the law, to the large white male technocratic elite, the academic freedom, the liberal authorities, the neoliberals, the higher education, force the discussion of academic freedom, certain without saying not the freedom to speak the requirement of so one certain person in order to speak in certain ways, and prohibition to conform as ideologies goes over to create mindless students human. Speech laws and students have a reasonably reasonably and non-conforming question of using speech laws doesn't claim major harm to the institutions because they the higher education these hosts shield students from presenting opinions they encourage artificial reality campus and purposes to tolerate diversity speech because will provide further restriction administrators and conservative flexible neoliberalism have property micro-political such as what is the nature of micro-political motivates that change the rupture macro-political solution Campbell. Micropolitics is not as conservative that translates the confinement to micropolitics indicates the certainty of the transversal and highlighting how global is simultaneously local there's a constant relationship between micropolitics operates as a threshold between activity and initiatives even as assess conditions of possibility being mixed for these more visible actions. And unstable politics provides chaos to the needed to generate progress procedurals and the public space and private institutions honing. Most of the theories use proceduralism as a substitute for political engagement with stable political movements, contract to fashion loyalty, they provide imagination, alternative future to the public sector uses public procedural use things you need democratic fund spontaneous public spirit in the public things participants army plan people things people struggle over the last few years this industry private has public things and student participants opposing liberalism higher education translating to theory to practice Ross. Students are open to new possibilities, services, and common application, innovation, income distribution, goes in transformation of hydrogen, recreation, reform of cell water, under hegemony, the student movements and disrupting entrenching of person, reforms into today's corporate acting, income student movements, promotes radical party, students are welcome to political action, and students are political and social action. Underview. United Muslims that paramedical persons when they refers to a policy making paradigm with their science about introduces severe post capacity constructing neoliberalism and maintains the same to the higher education to the reaching the case that all policy the investment or the policy is from the school and promotes the merits of the country under the framework that is one change rule about it removes the secrets of the money office of course either a consider negative role about it who's in charge of the money zero different role about the versus future but I still like facing have no current security options independence starting to increase the role and also like tax staff and people show strongly influence fairness for everyone who is strategic possibilities to parts of the 7 parts 16 times you then additionally if you see minimizes as somebody like you have to read off the links to my very wide version waiting for people to discussion this over the meaning for those discussion fairness of the reason you make a major to make apparent and judge the opportunity I should this job for fairness to any critical education because insurance but as a litigation person to get the education from the discussion also dropped it because I'm no strategic options to the run so the countries there so which super over the one year conversations although you know prison or negative because these were essentially theory substance so we had to be established as the norm for prison they have to argue the initial intern also using the future to reasonably strategy because the director arbitrarily decides to really cause no racism one of these people are as possible to be the friend. You can cut everything from the viewpoint reasonably.
You couldn't have possibly thought you were going to get through all of this.
I like to aim high.
That was like 30 pages of stuff for it. You're getting away with stuff. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, the Giroux card at the top talks about, or the article talks about sort of how in universities, professors are told to teach in a certain way. So like, they're like, you're an economics professor, you have to teach this kind of economics, and that is stifling sort of like, or like all of the impact it talks about. What is the app to change that?
What the app does to change that is one, we outline many different ways in which we are specifically focused on the students, but also we talk about professors, right?
So Giroux is only talking about professors. His argument is that the reason they're stifling is because universities ask them to teach things in a certain way.
I mean, the entirety of the Giroux is talking about educators, and educators always.
Exactly. So I'm asking.
So this is our framing evidence, right? But all of our advantage cards uniquely talk about why student free speech is necessary.
Okay, that's a disconnect though. So Giroux is like, educators need to be able to teach certain things. The reason that they don't right now is because universities tell them to teach certain things in certain ways. What does the app do to meet that frame?
One, we allow professors free speech, but also two.
What does generic free speech do to stop a professor's boss from saying, listen, you can say whatever you want, but we want you to teach this certain thing as opposed to that.
Free speech allows them to teach what they want.
So then could professors, just like if they didn't want to teach class that day, just like have a coloring book thing open and do that?
I mean, they probably, like, that's a separate issue. That's not
Why?
free speach. That's them
Wait,
being
why is that
bad.
not being able to teach
That's
whatever
them
they
being
want?
bad educators, right?
Wait, hold on. So you allow professors to have free speech, teach whatever they want, ignore university guidelines, and tell them to do certain things. But
I mean, that's an extreme example. Like, if I'm a professor and I just started getting up and I like don't do anything for the entire semester, that's just not doing my job, right?
wait, why should we care if you do your job? Isn't it just a question of educating students?
Yeah, we say that there's a role of an educator, specifically in higher education, to engage in a way that they have the ability to form dissent, be critical activists. That's what we say an educator ought to be.
Okay,
All that extends, all that education
extends
extends to students as well.
In the advantage, what speech is being pulled now?
All different types of speech.
The evidence talks about trigger warnings and safe spaces.
Those are some examples, but it also talks about political ideas being stifled.
What political ideas are stifled?
So there's like 17 different categories. So I mean, we can talk about different examples, right? On some more liberal institutions, there might be more conservative speech that's.
Wait, does Giroux say that we should have like conservative speech? Is he like, we should talk about
I think
like how great
so. Our evidence
capital is?
specifically indicates that the ability to engage with the other side, or specifically,
I would like you to read me a line where Giroux or any of the other authors, you're like, we should have people advocating for a cap. We should have students who are like, crush the unions.
crush the unions. That's not the point. The point is being able to engage in free dissent and free criticism and free discussion, because that prevents us from becoming the mindless robots that Drew talks about, right? There's also a piece of evidence in our app that talks about specifically the people who are silent are those who have reasonable yet non-conforming points of view, and those are the ones that we have to be able to include through free speech to get on our side to create the movements that we talk about.
Minutes left. It'll be wow. Good. Very ready.
Okay.
Good.
Neoliberalism structures academic freedom and status quo, sets limits on acceptable behavior to send any faculty, but choose rather than left to challenge corporate hegemony, toss out with equals real threat strategy, and Marty 14 privileges of entry or our with privilege of neoliberalism, which was with ethics and religion, solving differences, laws, article, data, personal academic research, and more specific by any fiscal constituting vision, about the increasing the university, cultures, bare mass identity, academic transforms, adaptive scholarship, a conformal norm for expedition from the university, scholarship, your institutional find or for the the organization as well as with the state populism and ministries speaking about these with the laws by law because XL community scholars that criminal students harassed and free speech is an illusion propagated by corporatists. They're a model of rights assume that people playing field analogous to free market economy pure capital promotion of freedom to speak versus the idea that speech commodity was strength is neoliberals will only have Brown 15 democracy is a movement to lend zero like the energy can see this marketplace of goods generate speech which is the market against my capital economization commercial process even always everyone they is a market speech well let's check out the capital contribution capital investment in basis so for this the basic speech style capital data is this for the push so lesser metals are these speech in first that is a semantic company this sort of speech so corporation without shooting with this speech remain on the corporate system power speech the government zero something opposition the opposition government as speech as warring parallel the government capital and this turns the case the modification of speech reflects the capital solution freedom and makes speech meaningless and kills value less than 14. These are points of course about less than 98 so people have these support people are saying some stuff to read some really like work but if we know our resource freedom solution any capital emergency, but it's a reason that other age so much more democracy, according to spread around the social concepts was being negative, especially on these right principles and our critique independent that was the case neoliberalism, because the distinction mass social policy apps, single issue, legalistic solutions, the exact kind of policy neoliberalism wants to engage in. So the root cause was a question for about 15, ecological and economic principle, militarism, and the industry more about this ecological criminals captured about the sense that this is would not be argument is to have a little basis of policy, a global economic landscape, so this little cross culture people have is being global, I think like for us, we can say, but these systems DNA is a set of traditional HDO, or range of use, let's say from some management is very flexibility, a transform multi-people students system, make the structure pattern up, there's multiple data challenges, fundamentals, and the alternative is a relentless class-based ball consider course against the university's economic benefits, only engaging in critique focus on economic forces that play in public universities can resolve capitalism, schools in Walsh 16, we are reflected as an academic consider movement must be should be our boards criticizing capitalism, the rest of the against the dollars in the this one as a student with the for the space speech under result is repressive dollars in the other by the right already includes the liberty columns requires the exceptions but we need to go to reachable eventually essentially gender space organization liberty tolerance cooperation the role of the judge to be critical analyst testing what the underlying assumptions of the morality question of whether the scholarship is good or not the passage of the plan first neoliberals opportunity in areas of policy to sustain self through the illusion of pragmatism. We should refuse their demand for a plan. Bladlock 15 prescription is operating social scholarship should issues with the project Drew Rose critical pedagogy reinforcing neoliberalism and emphasizing pedagogy experience not subject to using commonality necessary challenges of stand all three in protest or a ruse, but they are reacting more politics of purely active seeds of political institutions, strictly 15 million of margin to our reading those other systems that rise on the their claims are popular in the media because they sound dramatic. College learning environments operate smoothly and openly, even subject to fine Moreno 97. There are places on the rest of the understandings on where the university I know others been at the scratches and everyone's to be spent there. I think look to a lot of last one I will look at most of all you until the other environmental supervisor super exploited duties from teacher and student and they see the formal legislation when it is by the intention of the US they as so we are going to support or the only zeros when taken by what else expects. Give the next card. The marketplace of ideas and terrible government influence creates swing by tax value of broader form shut down to it and this page that have actually have opens up a procedural worth it makes the exchange of possible anchor 84 the other constitutions like the government to expression of whatever less which there's an age is that it's an actual difference the other as it comes to a student comes out of those speech constitutionally or close to it and successful that you don't want to successful acceptably little against the impact especially use the uncertainty and make sure others can speak to the underview first the first our purpose is acceptable. One we meet your work we defend a policy option 2 new apps outweigh people to reach your tweaks against against the next, your offense, you're able to weigh reps against the occasion is not you too. You can still read reps, bad offensive pieces, look at offense against something. The times you say is not you can speak first and last. You also have equal time to speak, which means there's a plus diagram. All this topic is terrible, which means you need an diagram.
Okay. You didn't read the Levine card, right? Like, cool. Let's start with the sub-line case of a Drew.
Sure.
Is this a turn or a reason we prefer your sort of methodology?
Both.
Okay, how does it function as a turn?
The argument is that Giroux's sort of concept of critical pedagogy emphasizes a sort of experience-based pedagogy where we sort of ignore more objective truths and instead say things like everyone needs to be included, everyone has a relevant like perception or experience within the world.
Okay,
Argument
cool.
is
So if
that
I just concede
fractures.
to your framing of neoliberalism, why is that still a turn on the affirmative advocacy?
Argument is that the Giroux reps that you read are bad because they fracture class politics. You can be like, oh, like, we don't care about like what Giroux says, but A, it's like all of the app framing. And the argument is still that way in which the app functions as like an individual experience-based, everyone needs a voice, fractures collective class politics. So even if you kick Giroux somehow, it's all linked to the sort of method of the
That's fine. What is the marketplace of ideas?
The argument is the sort of way in which the app says we need to include everyone. Everyone needs to speak. Everyone sort of needs to come together to find different things, have different perspectives. Argument is that it's bankrupt in the status quo.
Okay, so what's the negative alternative method of civic engagement?
So our argument is that we should instead approach the university in a way that rejects sort of distinctive identity categories and instead is a uniform force. The sort of rhetoric that the card uses is liberal toleration. The argument is if we tolerate any part of the institution and just engage in reform, that is never effective. I think there's a pretty good line in the card that says the claim free speech is under
How is the
assault.
alternative supposed to have policy action?
Our argument is that we should make like actual physical gains on universities, i.e. reorient policy towards them. It's not just like a scholarly like blah blah blah.
So I'm still confused as how this is a specific policy option.
So our argument is that we should engage in different kinds of policies, just with a
Where does
different
it,
sort of
it's
tilt.
like the card literally says we ought to reflect and ask if identity concerns are more important to class. That seems like a reflection.
So
Where in the alternative card advocate for a specific policy?
Okay, we ought to reflect, although we act without eschewing the importance of criticizing. We must aggressively resist the guise of liberal toleration.
Okay,
We must
resistance
revolt.
isn't a political action. It's not a policy.
So I think one, that's like not true. Two, the alternative is a question of building like specific policy scenarios. Our argument is the way we should do that is consistent with a mindset that rejects liberal toleration.
Okay. That's fine. I'll start with. Sorry.
Okay, it's not correct. 206. I'll send over. Okay. Send it out. So the order is going to be 2 off, AC, critique.
Alright, so that's sorry, 2 ACK.
2 off, AC.
Did you reply all?
Yeah. When I just replied to the same note. Okay, it's called 1 yard. Yep. There's your.
Hold on, let me get it. Are both the interpretation down here?
If I change them.
Go for it.
Is the interpretation of the reason to critical action must be satisfied in the speech which is right. You do not do that's technical. If it's not that you didn't say what's considered what purposes I mentioned. I don't know what you're asking your speech on the 7 minutes in your speech. Right? You're trying to say which was not fair because I don't know what arguments are in the speech. But you have the ability to do that during 20 seconds. Critical because when I'm going the opposite, I don't know whether you're grabbing fundamental or whether the fact that I'm saying whether it's critical is engaged. But being able to prep the arguments and see the rest of the business event, you have the one to say you're denying from me one and conversations and something that these happens during the speech. You could tell me say also say it's better. It constitutes you need to mind speak constant relations and engaging in. And the discussion that's necessary for me to win the round as well as the fact that the CSO is to be shifting move out of arguments, which means that I can fully continue that you could shift your position based on the questions I asked, which means that the one is the AC terms necessary for cross the arguments, the bottom of the AC will not go for the interview. You can see that fairness goes into critical education, but which means that fairness is the highest voter in the round, and is the gateway to no new responses. You can see the last speech does drop the last speech. Also, you can see that you should drop the debate on one or no negative arguments, which means can't. Opposite that you realize, well, the fact that usually competing interests, which is the Bristol office, is not all you need to be recording on the center messenger. Is for critical terms means only specific solvent plus you have to input by a single act of the opposite. These also have to input the implication plus they cannot get no reflection or change in how we engage in plus people by change that we change how we or interest in towards playing engage in the classes, but that's not a specific policy option, right? These also have to do that. It's literally conference rights that we specifically reflect on the way we think it is. Think about it, which means that is not clearly binding to the use of the Chelsea standard one. Chelsea might take it also interesting my shirt because I don't have to shift it to the so in the end you look at the solving steps in the winter, but I don't know my separate places with negative reciprocal the impact of the burning starts to see your is better. Most people leverage our position it's a bunch of taxes, but also start to because my point is they don't actually believe in the discourse there and Barbie just as soon as that's without a concrete policy action with something they can there's something bad about my opposite saying that they reflect on it or change the way they think about it, which is obviously utopian the opposite they just kind of my shit or my shit how our politics operate, which is obviously it's a super abusive because they can just basically change how the entire United States does its politics, which it treats no stable ground and also gives an unphysical solvency and his ability to critique. Also, for example, I can just there in this specific instance, I can just show how class this policy is better because obviously in neoliberalism, if you implement a specific policy and I can be specific dissent, measure that will allow me for a full response to the data. The only way for me to witness this TV the after you told me first because I can feel away all their discrimination, the criticism, because I went to the post level and outweigh the critique mess. Let's go to the case. They want to say that that's they try to make the critique based on the idea that free speech is an illusion and that the corporations will always control. But our evidence is really on this issue. You look and see that that's where perhaps Giroux idea of marketplace is not the best one, but we're still the net market is still the idea that we have to solve for neoliberalism, solve for capital within academic space, which the affirmative does. Specifically for advanced areas, which is really good because it's really good because first of all, the student purchase evidence, which is the Harvard-Westlake evidence, is specifically student purchase allow for neoliberalism to be attacked in higher education, and that translates this catching some of the argument of corporations corporatizing them because they said that specifically student protests are no strategic notes for transformation and have caused the corporatization of academia, which proves that this themselves which takes us to the most of the critique and turns it shows that there is a possibility for student protests. So if you feel that there's so often that you should probably go to if you don't even if you don't buy that our group and is at least dialogue. We're not saying that we're not allowed for other or capitalist dialogue, but rather the argument is says specifically the people who are reasonably and non-conforming, the people who need to convince, and the only way to convince those people is through discussion, which is the affirmative does. Specifically the critique firm prepare issues that we get something in the class the past affirmative to create new protests against neoliberalism, which is the perpetration of solves it's still allegations today, whether extend our approach to the 12 it says specifically policy solutions are necessary to solve the issues of capitalism, which is within this issue. His arguments about like colleges being but there's still risk of often that we need to change it, and our evidence outlines there's some places where this is not happening.
Do you read the rest across these papers?
Yeah, I just read it.
It'll be the case quickly, the critique quickly, the shows in order. Right. Good.
Yep.
Good.
Shells in order, K case. No?
Case K.
Case K shelter.
Completely backward, you did. Alright. Alright.
You We'll have to go for 30 next feature. We're losing the case pretty badly. The second card that I read was conceded indicates that movements are opposed to solve. They don't actually get anything done. They fractually get class politics. They allow people to do nothing. They go home to it's not really done something. They want to try to do anything. Take the double out of evidence, which means you know the offense. The last argument you made is you. Some people are excluded. They need to be included in our argument. A bracket succeeded in the right place where ideas started socialized against inclusion, which means the free speech doesn't actually change things because still no one will listen to them and everyone doesn't care because the world sucks. The critique you or make a permutation just about as they say good conceding black evidence. The idea of pragmatism is getting the capitalists that sort of it's a single issue with solutions to not work. We need to sort of rethinking how we come across this permutation. Also, you can see all of the links, the second evidence, the ground evidence, indicates they focus on free speech. Notice how speech is not action free. These evidence is a conceded case turn. It says the illusion of freedom of speech makes it impossible to ever challenge capitalism, which means that all these are dissenting permutation. Only the ultimate solve. It solves in case we allow people to be able to actually engage in actually in education places just because they're all about capitalism.
You lose this debate. You conceded a bunch of turns. Okay.
Counter-interpretation, we don't have to specify the status of the alternative. If we read one op-ed and they read an underview of the 1AC, net benefit is net flex. We have to spend half the 1AC responding to a ton of app theory that was read in the 1AC, which means they are already able to set up the 1AC parameters how they would like, which means we need the ability to make strategic decisions at the bottom of the 1AC outweighs all the profit because we are reactive that we have to control the rights. You can set the sort of pace for the debate. We just have to deal with it. Your arguments first. You say there's a prep disadvantage. One, I have spent all of the 1AC prepping it as well, which means you have to prepping as well, which is not unique. The big point is that because it's unconditional, you don't lose any ground, which means you don't lose any ground, which means you still have to make all these same answers. There's literally no inbound abuse here. There's nothing that you lost. You say it's key to reciprocity, but no, I do not know which arguments will go for the 1A out of the 1A or out of the 1AC, which means I do not know which arguments will I need to prep. There's just as much they sort of practice manage when I'm in the 1MC next new underview card, preemptive card me that I still have something to respond to. I have to prep something that is new. You say that you have to mind sweep for arguments and cross-sects. No, you have to ask one thing and get it over with. There's no clear views and benefit ways. Next, you say that we can shift based on your questioning. I don't know what kind of questions you're asking for, but there's no such thing as a status shift because you asked what the status was. The only conceivable piece of offense here is that it's harder for us to prep, but if it's unconditional, better. You have all of the advantages because there's no offense. The others are. Counter-interpretation, we don't have to read a policy if the critique is unconditional and if the critique is unconditional and it was just one position. The net benefit is that it allows us to challenge all sorts of different kinds of apps. For example, if they read a new app, we had no specific prep for their app. We need to go to read a sort of more general alternatives in order to model basic solvency because counterplans and disads are unusable generics against specific apps on this topic. Outweighs all of their offense because at the very least you are able to sort of weigh case against the alternative permutations, whereas we aren't able to do that because we are reactive. We cannot permute the 1AC. The second net benefit, the second net benefit is the permutations are one-line game overs, which means we need the ability to have sort of vaguer alternatives able to work around them. Otherwise, we would always auto lose to just do the app policy and the net policy, which is what every single debate comes down to. The number of competitive policies that would solve the app are virtually zero because it's such a specific app that also has very clear K impacts, which means it's impossible for us to just read a policy option and be able to beat this app. That obviously outweighs, even if it's a little harder for them to affirm, it would make it in their interviews impossible to negate their offense proper. First, these straps, few arguments. One, you said we don't know how the alternative being implemented. Implementation is not a key ground for you to answer anything. There's never a time in which you get up to read disads to how the counterplan goes through Congress. Similarly, you don't need to read disads to how the alternative is implemented. It's simply a question of what the result is. Moreover, you get extra strategies. For example, you can read things like permutations as well as the method, sort of general thesis of the alternative bad. You can also read that not all solutions are bad, i.e. just the shell, but substantive offense. You can also read things like just the general sort of slant of the alternative. For example, policy actually good. All of these would be offense under against your alternative, which you have access to means it is better for either never. Moreover, your interpretation doesn't solve this because you only specify critique alternatives, whereas for things like counter plans or whatever, we still could be vague, which means there's no net benefit. That's usually that we don't know what the mindset gets replaced with. Yes, you do. Our alternative is very clear. It indicates we should shift exactly sort of the metric you should do, which means there's no abuse. Next, the reciprocity standard, the app one is able to defend things like reps out of 1AC, which means there's already reciprocal burdens. The UK has to have links to the plan, otherwise there's a link omission, which means there's no reciprocal burdens you're able to respond to. You can return to the critique, doesn't mean you can return to the app. The entirety of this standard relies on the idea that it's impossible to enter critique alternatives. Obviously not the case. Even if you can't say rejecting capitalism is bad, you still can say the method by which they reject, or the way in which they reject, or even just cap good, all of which will be sufficient to cover all of your ground. There's no offense. The overview on the theory flow is that both of these shells are things we could have done better. It's explicitly linked to omission. You should gut check on them. If the debate is fair or like usable, good is good enough. Do not let me down because that was not perfect.
All right, 2 minutes. Okay. The order is going to be the first one. Actually, we're going to do like the pulse cell shell and then specs as Judge, ready? Yes.
The negative entire strategy on theorem is defensive, which means I just win risk off. The beating agent is that if you win risk off, if I win one of my sentences, then that's the reason to pull the trigger. And that has no theoretical offense on either of the shells, which means that it's not a reason to go over. You never also overread the critiques. You never indicate what critiques are uniquely specific graph that use the negative means the equally trampled, you can be disrespected, myself the entirety of his graph but about like a new app and stuff, which it doesn't like he never specifically says like critique rap is necessary for you to have access to that. We're not denying anything else. Let's go there. One by one. He says that once you have no starting you have you can wrap it out. This also he says there's no reason why you can't be generic pulse cell to get to us. You can probably find a generic pulse cell I think like a patriarch kind of plan or something like that, which specifically advocates for the movement that you're talking about. It shouldn't be too hard to find an advantage time that I can actually link just that to. As you said that, the ability to rank is to make permutations, that is irrelevant. Because one, your every permutations are not uniquely game winners, because you still get just as easy as I can permutation when it dissected the permutation, which means it's not a reason when you have just win one of your early cards, and that's the reason why the permutation goes away, which means that person not necessarily not all person must go. Specifically, you say on the way argument, the way argument doesn't apply. You can also you say reps comfort. That is a situation, but one of the issues that we have for simple passive knowledge. What I will prove that you didn't have that it is a positive. That's not the case. As the coffee agent, This is a specific solvency, but it's always happening, a solvency implementing the policy. That's not there in the other part. Also, you drop the analysis that is about a reflection about you also see there's no environment, so there is environment. That's what they indicate that was dropped from last year. They said specifically when you say that we shift our policies to a class-based policy, if you're doing this policy specifically in this driving methodology, it's basically said that we solve for all the issues of that the utopian that we're talking about. Because I don't have a specific policy that I can say that for example, he says that I can read arguments about like no policy options are not rejection, outs are valid. That's not the point. Yes, I can also read that, but you still read why reps are good, which is nice stuff. But the whole point is that you were able to return to get back from the quality to the next feature. You read a bunch of things, but I was unable to do that because I was unable to formulate a strategy with a specific angle, which means that unit that is turned out for is so bad, worse turned out because it's not specific turned out, and not specific. He knows even get my trends that goes since the last and also he said that I want to know how the ultimate Illuminati through Congress, but that's not the point. I have to know the procedurals of it, right? You have to know what it does, and I have to know specific policy to actually create distance. That's how it works. When you just say that we reflect or we shift, obviously that's again in the form that utopia that's something the responsibility, the responsibility said that we're talking about. You said CPS can also be big, but yes, they can be big, but they're not a higher layer. That is the issue of critique, which is takes on that argument. So you said that there's no metric for a specific policy. Yes, there's metric. You have to always have to add this for a specific implementable policy. That's a pretty clear metric. Now you said that the critique, I can weigh the reps of the critique of the aftertime, but that's not the only one. We add in the inconsistent policies which are going to be affirmative, which is optional. There's also the fact that you can that. We're going to constantly having reps to reps that, but the whole point is that our cycle so extending response is really good because he can return things like I cannot return that response imbalance is the reason why you voted for McDonald theory.